In this video, I'm unpacking 3 vitally important and very smart ways to deal with the destructive narcissist in your life over the holidays. Let's do it. Hey friends, Tamie M. Joyce here, empowerment life coach, creator of the Freedom class and the Ascension class. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. So let's talk about 3 very smart ways to deal with narcissists over the holidays. Now, to begin with, during the holidays, more than ever, it's important not to slip into what I call codependent amnesia. In particular, when it comes to the narcissistic people in your life. Instead, remember that people with a destructive narcissist personality pattern actually derive satisfaction from taking a shot at you. They get a sick kick out of manufacturing chaos and drama. And they're thrilled when they can succeed in pushing your buttons. And this is never more true than during a highly charged occasion like the festivities over the holiday season. Remember, narcissists need to be the center of attention. And as far as they're concerned, any attention is better than no attention. Even negative attention will do for a narcissist. In fact, sometimes that's exactly what they're looking for. They have a sick and bizarre need to feel superior. They need to feel dominant and in control. And they especially need to have a target to project their disowned shadow onto. Whatever it is that they cannot own, acknowledge, or accept about themselves will have to be projected onto the nearest highly empathic target, not least being whoever happens to have been cast in the role of the family scapegoat. Now, more than anything, they'll need retribution for any perceived slight, criticism, or rejection they may have felt from you. So, if you've been smart enough to keep your distance for a while, and now you're contemplating going back in because it's the holidays and maybe you feel obligated, know that given the opportunity, they will do and say whatever it takes to try to make you look and or feel bad for doing or saying whatever it is you needed to in an attempt to take good care of yourself. Especially if that included actually standing up for yourself in any way. And the truth is, if for whatever reason, a narcissistic person sees you as a threat, and therefore you are now a target, there really isn't much you're going to be able to do to change that. And if they can't get away with targeting you directly or aggressively, they'll do it passively, but just as destructively. And any pushback from you can and will be used against you. And I'm not saying don't push back. There are times when that's absolutely appropriate. Setting healthy limits and boundaries with toxic people may be difficult and uncomfortable, but it's also absolutely necessary. Remember, you teach people how to treat you, and the narcissist will only try to get away with whatever they think they can get away with. Now, that said, be smart and choose your battles and your timing wisely. Christmas dinner may not be the best time to assert your boundaries for the first time. Know the game, know who and what you're dealing with, and if you're choosing to play by showing up, then proceed cautiously and accordingly. If you can avoid a confrontation, especially over the holidays, then do your best to do so. You'll be much better off. But the bottom line is, it's a matter of doing whatever you need to do to fortify yourself. If you're choosing to expose yourself to narcissistic people during the holiday season. And what this looks like is, you've been doing your own personal healing and recovery work. You've been taking really good care of yourself. You're well rested, well nourished, calm, cool, and collected. You're peaceful, and you're boundaried. You're not walking in there a ball of sleep-deprived, anxiety-riddled stress with a gaping emotional wound exposed for all to see and for the narcissist to poke at. Don't go in feeling overly emotional, sensitive, stressed out, fearful, hungover, sick, tired, or weak in any way. If you're feeling any of those things, do not go there. If you do, the narcissist will see you as easy prey, and that's the last thing you need. It would be better for you to stay home alone, take care of, and nurture yourself rather than set yourself up to be re-traumatized. So be aware of your emotional state and be dirt honest with yourself with regard to your limitations. It's okay. You're human. You're allowed to have limitations, especially where narcissistic people are concerned. So do whatever it is that you need to do to take good care of yourself. Now, of course, you could simply choose to not go at all, regardless of your emotional state, and the problem would be entirely solved. You can stop the video now and go do something nice for yourself. But for those of you who, for whatever reason, feel you can't completely disengage at this time of year, and you're feeling strong enough to go in there, here's something you'll want to keep in mind. Narcissists are tricky little creatures, which of course is just another way to say they are master manipulators. And one of the ways they are most likely to attempt to trick you over the holidays is with the hoovering technique. Now, this is the time of year when you can most expect the narcissistic hoover, meaning they'll call, text, show up, or approach you at the office party or family function, acting all nicey-nicey, maybe even buttering you up with a compliment or two, telling you how much they care, acting as if nothing ever happened, everything's fine. Given the chance, they may even play the pity card in the hopes of winning you over. Whatever tactic they use to hoover you back into their toxic abuse cycle, decide in advance that you will not fall prey to this manipulative ploy, no matter how much they may be pretending or professing to have changed. I assure you, narcissists do not change. Rather, they use things like a temporary change of attitude, demeanor, and behavior, compliments and flattery, a victim story, as a means of regaining control and sucking you back into the toxic abuse cycle. It's a setup. So whatever you do, do not fall for it. Instead of falling for the hoover, here are 3 smart ways to deal with narcissistic people over the holidays. Number 1, set time limits. Setting time limits and distancing yourself when necessary as a means of self-care and self-preservation is a smart thing to do, especially over the holidays. In fact, it is fully your job and responsibility to set these limits for yourself. No one else's job, no one else's responsibility, yours. When we were kids, we didn't have a choice in terms of who and what we were exposed to and for how long. We're adults now. We get to choose. So remember, it's your responsibility to take care of yourself in this regard, and you don't need anyone else's permission or approval to do so. There is always a way. For example, if you know you're going to be exposed to toxic people, depending on the level of dysfunction that you might be dealing with in that particular dynamic, you probably already know that things can get real heated and go real sideways really quickly, especially at this time of year. So when it comes to setting limits, deciding in advance what amount of time you'll spend at the party or family function is a really good idea. Consider arriving late and leaving early. Make whatever excuse you need to shorten your time and the length of exposure. So show up late and stay just long enough to be polite, then leave early enough to either completely sidestep or at the very least remove yourself from whatever nonsense is being stirred up. Sorry, gotta go. See ya. Seriously. Now, that said, in order to be able to do this gracefully, with as little drama as possible, you'll have to make sure that you have an exit strategy that you've planned out beforehand as well. A solid exit plan where you're not reliant on anyone else if and when you decide it's time to leave. Again, it's fully your number 1 job and responsibility to take care of you. So go with a time limit in mind, along with an exit plan. And if things get tense or heated in any way, if things start to go sideways, if things become awkward or uncomfortable for any reason, you have the ability to take care of yourself by leaving. Go home and do something nice for yourself, or go meet with safe friends elsewhere. Whatever it takes, just take care of yourself in whatever way you need to. Number 2, keep your expectations low. Smart people do not only keep their distance and set limits, they also keep their expectations low when it comes to dealing with narcissists over the holidays. Now, what I mean by that is, do not expect a narcissist to suddenly morph into a good, kind, decent, empathetic person with a conscience just because it's the holidays and just because you want them to. Again, be smart. Keep your expectations nice and low so you're not hurt and disappointed when the mask slips and they let their true colors shine, as they always do. A good example of how this can happen, especially over the holidays, is the fact that, not always, but certainly often enough, narcissists are very disappointing gift givers. They'll do things like give totally inappropriate or underwhelming gifts and then sit back with smug on their face and wait for your reaction. Like, for example, buying sweaters that are 3 sizes too small, or adult-themed books for young kids, as well as toddler toys for teenagers. They'll also re-gift cheap, tacky gifts and make a big fuss as if they've just given you a diamond bracelet. It's a form of gaslighting, friends. They are quite literally daring you to be ungrateful, setting you up so you can now look like the bad guy while they get to point the finger at you and call you a spoiled, selfish brat and tell everyone what an absolute ingrate you are. And when someone does this to you, you have all the information you need about who and what it is that you're dealing with. So again, when it comes to dealing with narcissists over the holidays, whatever you do, keep your expectations really low so you're less hurt and less disappointed, and instead more easily able to have a good laugh at their antics when it's all said and done. Now, narcissists are infamous for the bizarre ways they try to set us up, and they are known to be petty, stingy, and selfish to the extreme, which is where the disappointing gift giving comes from. They're miserable and miserly at heart. That's a true story. So beware. See it for what it is and don't fall into the silly trap. Now, comment below and tell me whether or not you have a solid plan in place for how to deal with the narcissist in your life over the holidays. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're suffering from narcissistic abuse in any area of your life, you're likely an excellent candidate for my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class. If you'd like to learn more about how to work with me, there is a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Now, the third way intelligent people deal with narcissists over the holidays is to recognize and ignore the insults. That's right. Again, see their petty nonsense for what it is and don't get any of it on you. People who land on the spectrum of destructive narcissism love to insult others, and often they'll attempt to take their cheap shot in a passive but not so subtle way. They'll use backhanded, passive-aggressive digs and underhanded compliments that are absolutely meant to be insulting. They'll say things like, "I'd never have the confidence to wear that," or "I wish I was as relaxed as you are about all this clutter and mess," or something I once heard when a very sick narcissist from my past reached out around the holidays after a solid decade of no contact, and I informed him that I was very happily married and living in Mexico. His response was, "Oh, I never thought you'd get married. Congratulations." Are you sure congratulations is what you meant to say? Because kind of sounds to me like you might have meant something else. Let's face it, narcissists are not only deeply insecure, green with envy, and extremely jealous, they are also incredibly mean-spirited, angry, and shame-filled. Even if they don't appear that way on the surface, that's the truth. Why else would they say the things they say and do the kind of things they do and think they can get away with it? And it should all be totally acceptable. The veiled insults are meant to drop little seeds of doubt in your mind, if you let them, by putting limits on your perceived value, worth, and capabilities, according to the narcissist anyway. And if you're playing it smart, keeping your expectations low, setting limits, and you have an exit plan, you should not only be able to see this garbage for what it is, you should also be able to remain absolutely bulletproof in the face of it. And you'll know you've made progress with your healing and recovery work when this kind of so-called compliment has absolutely no charge, zero effect on you. It doesn't even land, never mind hurt. In fact, you find it laughable, knowing full well that the hurtful nonsense they came up with says far more about the person saying it, who they are, than it ever will about you. Now, if you want to go deeper into the subject of how to deal with toxic family members over the holidays, you can watch this video here and this video here. And on that note, I'm going to call it a wrap, but don't stop now. I have well over 300 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse, and more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, and freedom. And if you want to go deeper with me, you can go to TamieMcoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience and learn how you can become my client. A very happy holidays to each and every one of you. Mwah, much love. And if you're suffering from narcissistic abuse in any area of your life, you're likely an excellent candidate for my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class. If you'd like to learn more about how to work with me, there is a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team.